spoilers for The Rings of Power. Hi guys, and welcome to the script department. Today you've got myself and Caleb checking out the Rings of Power episode 6. There's no Marcus this week, so our Tolkien aficionado is missing. So please don't hate on us if we besmirch the timeline, but we'll do our best here. Hey Caleb, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, man. This was a big episode. We've been building towards this one. I know you've been watching away as you've been nursing your well, not literally nursing your baby, but you know, he's got a new baby, guys. He's been busy, so he's been watching away. So we got to sort of almost like a Helm's Deep episode here. It was pretty big.
It was.
But I don't know. What did you think of it? What did you make of this one?
Well, it wouldn't be a Lord of the Rings Helm's Deep episode if there wasn't a Deus Ex Machina, right? So, but no. I think that they've taken their time building to this, and I pretty much enjoyed this episode. There's some kind of cheesiness that, if you think about it, it kind of, you're like, oh, that doesn't really make sense. Of course that would happen. Like the cutting to, there's a weird timing where they cut to show us that everyone was riding in the daytime to come save the town, and then obviously it was day and night. So like you put those pieces together. But that was kind of like, maybe that was an editing thing. But there's some, like, I pretty much overall enjoyed this episode that I feel like paid off a lot of what has been set up, and really enjoyed the ending of like finally seeing is it Adar his plan kind of come together and being like, oh yeah, finally Mount Doom gets blown off, and you know, everything's kind of setting up. We're seeing the things that like we've seen in other films, you know, the trilogy and stuff. So there's some fun stuff going on there for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean the big Mount Doom payoff was since we saw that explosion in the trailer, everyone's like, Mount Doom's going off. We're going to see it. We're going to see that happen. And, Marcus and I have been sort of like, oh, maybe it's next episode. Maybe it's the one after. But if we're hitting structurally, it's kind of in the right place. This is sort of like the heightening of the action. This is the peak. If not, next episode will be the peak. And we saw a huge explosion. It's a little bit like all is lost kind of thing. I know we've got fine lines here that we're playing with, but it was great to see that, because we've been chatting about it for weeks now. When are we going to see Mount Doom go off?
That's an interesting point, though, because I heard you guys talking about it last episode with seeing Mount Doom, and so I had started listening to it after I'd watched this episode, trying to get caught up. And so for me, I think I only saw like the very first trailer, and then anything else I didn't watch any other trailer, so I didn't really know where his plan. I mean, you can put the pieces together, but having not watched the trailer, I hadn't seen Mount Doom. Had we seen it in the show before that? I'm trying to remember.
I'm not sure. I've started. I knew it was definitely in the background a lot on this one before it was Mount Doom. It was just like a pretty Swiss looking mountain.
Yeah,
I don't know if we've seen it. Yeah. We must have. I'd be surprised if they hadn't just popped it up there in the background as a little Easter egg there.
Little Chekhov's gun. Yeah, just cut to, oh, here's Mountain Doom.
This is where we need Marcus. He'll go, it was in episode 3, frame 463. Yeah. Oh God, we need to call him now.
See, I've been a little hazy through my watch.
Yes, of course,
as I've been sleep deprived. So, but yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting point, that of how like maybe some of the promotional material affects our viewing too, because me having not seen anything really. So
Yeah, I mean, there were a few bits in this that we kind of expected to be coming. So they've hinted of this huge battle at the keep for, well, the tower for 3 or 4 episodes now. So we knew that was coming. Yeah. We knew Galadriel was hungry for some more battles, so we knew that was going to happen. What you said about the editing, I'd completely forgot about the day and night thing, and I was watching it with my wife, and we were both going, are they in the same place?
Yeah.
because they're on horses and they're trying to get there and it's dark.
Yeah.
But I was trying to figure out what they said on the boat about sailing into the sunrise. They're sailing into the sunrise, not the sunset, right? So
yes, yeah.
So they should have been
the previous episode.
So they should have been in the dark riding into the light, surely. But I don't know.
Whatever.
Whatever.
It's a weird, or it's like the whole like all is lost moment of the episode. Then like we're jumping to them riding, and it's like, oh, I wonder where they're riding. It's daytime, so it's kind of like that's where I felt it was a little bit weird of a spot to throw in, and felt like shoehorned in of like, okay, we have to set this up somehow, so that way it's not just them riding up. So
potentially it wasn't filmed that way. Potentially it was edited that way to give a rising tension. But maybe a bit of grading on the daylight could have helped there. But
well, it makes sense as far as like, if it's not chronological,
Yes.
So.
Exactly. So there was. I mentioned a comparison between Helm's Deep at the start. So I think, like, it wasn't Helm's Deep, right? It wasn't big enough. But I was trying to figure out why, and I don't. They could have made it bigger, but was there any point, kind of thing? I think the mechanic of the battle was quite different to Helm's Deep, right? So it was almost. It feels like the whole battle was almost a distraction, so they could set off the Mount Doom grenade.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Like it definitely there is a sense of like you don't have the scale of what the movies have, because like in the movies, this is in Two Towers, this is what this whole movie's been building up to, like even just like the production of the movie, everything's building to Helm's Deep, so like it's gonna be massive. Whereas this is a show, and they've got like so many moving parts that I felt the scale, kind of being a little slight. But I think that there's in some shots there's a lot of extras of the orcs at the beginning of the battle, and so I did like that writing note of like where there's that reversal of like, oh, they sent in the townspeople that turned on them, and they recognized the blood, and like that was a fun little moment, because it's like it really does the Lord of the Rings what have we called the movie universe?
Just call it the Jacksonverse, because it sounds cool.
Is this part of the Jacksonverse? I
don't know. They haven't really said that yet, but why would it not be?
Right,
why would it? Because it's the same story. Like we are before the characters. We've got
I don't know, Galadriel
a Hugo Weaving looking guy playing Elrond, and it's just
right.
And the Galadriel could be a young Cate Blanchett. It feels like it's the same.
I can only assume. But like, like I don't remember where was I going with this, or where this was going.
I think you were leading into the tone of it and the
okay, the tone. So like with the tone, like there's these moments of like really bleak, just like war, and the deaths in war, and we see that in the movies, we see that in the books, and this episode kind of captured that, and made me have similar feelings as the movies have. So I enjoyed that reversal, but it was a little bit like, of course they're not going to send in the orcs, and then the orcs were waiting off in the woods. And my wife,
I thought it was great. I mean, I think there was a mix of orcs, wasn't there? And then there was the villagers.
Yeah.
And I thought that was you could see how of course it was supposed to affect them, but I thought that was played quite well. That there was a fuss, immediate fuss, as soon as the first one got uncovered, and it was like they've lived with them their whole lives, and they just killed them. So to go from that victorious cheering, we've just killed all these orcs, to oh my god, we've just slaughtered half our own village. I thought it was smart. But I mean, overall, tonally, this thing was very different to the last 3 or 4 episodes, at least, because it was dark. I mean, we didn't have any Harfoots, and there was no Elrond and Durin at all. We had nothing. So there was none of the joy of the Harfoots. There was none of the like really funny like jostling between Elrond and Durin, and that funny friendship and how they are with one another. And it was quite grimy and grim, which again, big lumps of what we've seen already have been like that, but this entire episode was like that. So it had, for me, it was quite tonally different. And I think there was something quite interesting that I realised about the characters in it as well, because there's so many different sort of main or supporting characters in this, and we've had 6 hours now of this saga, and I still feel like we haven't spent enough time with any of them, because if any of them were to get run through by a grimy orc in this episode, I don't know how upset I would have been. I don't. It's almost like we've got so many different storylines going on. The threat felt a bit lower on this one because we haven't invested that much time. How do you feel about the arcs that are going on, and the character building and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a little like basic as far as like the characters, like they kind of fit into the archetypes where they need to, and the characters that we do have from either knowledge from the movies or books, I feel like have to fit into these what they are. So like there's not much, there's only so much wiggle room, I think, that they have with writing, that where, and I'm like, obviously it's in the text, so like whatever. We're talking about adapting that. So like I think about, like, it's interesting that you say 6 hours. We've spent 6 hours with these people, and all these storylines, and like the structure of this, I think, owes a lot to Game of Thrones. Like just in a television way, like there's a post Game of Thrones television world that that Game of Thrones has informed.
Yes.
And so like I think structurally, like I think back to like even just the first season of Game of Thrones, and how there's 10 episodes, 10 hours, whatever, but those characters that we start to know, and like Ned Stark, like we know his character so fast, and we know what informs his choices, and like that there's depth there that I feel like is a little lacking here, like what you're talking about, where we know, like, we don't really like have any investment in the characters because of that, because it's a little lacking on the like like they're fitting into these kind of basic archetypes.
So I think the archetypal thing kind of makes the approach feel a little bit old hat with the characters, because what happened, I mean, we saw it before Thrones, but what happened with Thrones, and having our heart ripped out again and again and again, seeing these characters we just loved, like we loved some of these characters, just be slaughtered in the worst way, gave it a very real feel and a really visceral feel. And I thought we were going to get a little bit of that here. Maybe we still will. There's still 2 episodes left, and at least 2 more seasons they've got in the bag here. So, well, not in the bag. They've got them signed up, as far as I understand. But I don't know. There was. I didn't feel a fear. If it was like, oh, they might kill that one. Oh, they might kill that one. It wasn't like, oh no. It's the Red Wedding. It's it was. I didn't feel any of that. So
even the one that they do kill, the leader or the big guy in the battle of he's in the village. I don't even know his name. But
which one was that?
He does a lot of fighting in the first part and then gets shot with the arrows. He's the big guy who Bronwyn knows.
The cow farmer with the weird cap thing on. Yes. He died, but again, it's a bit like you said like 12 words so far.
yeah. Well, and even like the with Arendir and Bronwyn,
Bronwyn,
they with their characters, it's like, okay, what weight besides like they're in love, their love story. That's where I think we're feeling this like lack of depth of like, okay, they're in love and that's kind of it. That's all. It kind of just brushes the surface of all of these things, whereas like I'll talk good about this episode for a second. The thing that I think they succeeded on in the writing of this episode was the peaks and valleys of the battle, where there's reversals, there's like it's engaging. So like you have these plans that these two sides are enacting, and so like there's that fun viewing because we're participating in the like engaging in the plans basically as we're figuring them out, like the fire wagons going in, like these are all from an action standpoint. And so that's where I think that this episode did succeed is having those engaging moments, because then when the reversal of the orcs comes, there's then another battle, and then there's the whole once they get into inside the tavern, or the keep as they call it, they like there's that whole scene where they're trying to get the blade. So there's some fun elements going on here that I think we haven't got in the character level yet.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the reversal, the double battle, almost like a duality of each other, where one was the orcs going up the hill, one was the orcs going down the hill. There was that really clever moment with the torches lighting up. With like, oh, there's one, there's two. Oh my God, loads of them survived. That was really cool. I really liked that, because you felt you were discovering the extent of the enemy at the same time as the characters. So I thought that was really smart. I was like, okay, here we go. And it was a really quick, simple thing, but where they blocked them in with the fire, and then all of a sudden, like two massive orcs just kick it out of the way and go, come on, let's get them. I'm like, oh my God, okay, yeah, they're in trouble now. And it was, I thought, there were moments of this battle where I was really engaged and really into it. Like the choreography of it was great. Like it looked like very well organized chaos. And I remember imagining like medieval battle in history lessons as a kid, thinking you could just get stabbed by anyone and it wouldn't matter how good you were with a sword. Like there are people everywhere, you're just going to get stabbed.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And that's what it felt like. It felt like you could just get taken out at any minute. I thought Bronwyn or what's the elf's name? I've forgotten it all of a sudden. Arendir. I thought one of those guys might die because I think they gave us a fake in that, because they sort of did the I love you, we're going to live together, all of us. So that was kind of a breadcrumb to say, okay, one of them's going to die, because we're trying to build up the emotion before they do. So I don't know if that was intentional or whether that was just because of the tropiness of the battle, because it was a really classic battle. It was like, okay, it's us against the monsters, and I do like that. I do like a good old classic battle, but I don't know if that was an intentional thing about the relationship. The one thing that I'm still trying to find out. So I want to see Theo's ears. I think he's their love child. Bronwyn's son. Yeah, he hasn't got. They've not been out their hair yet. I'm like, he's got to be the elf child. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I haven't put that together yet. That's
for me,
interesting.
that'd be a pretty big reveal if he
That
was.
would be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
no, but like uh, that's again the point that I come back to is like, okay, yeah, they're going to be together. They're kind of relying on that trope.
mm,
But again, what does it mean other than we're just like told that we're supposed to care about that?
yeah.
Um even though
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's not like I hate these characters, but you
No,
know.
I quite like them. I
Yeah,
think we've been slightly down on this, but I think it's because it was
yeah.
it was quite a tense episode.
It was, yeah. No, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
Even just from again from a production standpoint, I hate green screen. There's been so much green screen,
Yeah.
or whatever it's called. Yeah, now whatever the Mandalorian has pioneered. But there's this episode. You want the visceral feel, you want the tangible feel of like being in the battle, and it's
Mm,
nice because we're on location shooting, we have everything. There's so much practical in this episode, like the orcs, the a lot of the fighting, like it's, it, you feel that while you're watching it, and so like I think
mm.
that they did that really great. And it was fun to see like another battle, because that's kind of the way that Lord of the Rings kind of hits its beats. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of the I forgot the name of it. The virtual set thing, the LED thing.
yeah,
Like, you could see a lot of that going on. Well, you couldn't see it. You kind of know. But there were some big action shots in it, and the Galadriel riding that horse was pretty. Like, she's nailing that
yeah.
horse. Like, it's like, okay, they are really. There is a part. I mean, I don't know how much was real, but it's like there's a big charge of actors on horses going on here. It's like, okay, this is a real thing, and that, like you say, there is a definition between the two, but I do like to see that, particularly when we know that this thing is an expensive production. It's like, okay, there it is. There's a charge of horses.
Yeah.
The one thing I've really been enjoying about the series is who's Sauron. Who is
Oh,
Sauron? Where are
yeah.
they coming from?
Who's
And
the
it's like
boss?
we had a bit more of that going on. There's no Meteor Man because we didn't have the half foot, so
Yeah.
he's on the list, but he's slowly slipping away from me. But
Who is
the Meteor Man,
the
is it,
stranger?
yeah, the stranger? Is it Radagast? Is it Sauron? Is it, who is it? But
Yeah. Who's
so
who?
yeah,
It's a
exactly. So in this episode, the two Saurons we got were Adar and
Mhm.
Halbrand. So
Yeah.
those two guys were in it, and Adar has now come out with a cracking bit of information. Whether he's lying or he thinks it's true, or that's part of the plan. He said that he killed Sauron.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think he's doing there? What do you think's going on?
I feel like he did, right? I don't think he's Sauron.
No.
I've thought that since they kind of like shortly after they introduced him. And you kind of start to catch what they're doing with like who's who. But yeah, no, I don't know, honestly. I don't know what he's doing.
It's
'Cause, like,
interesting, isn't it? It's
yeah,
like,
well,
well, is he trying to throw them off that Sauron's alive? Does he think he killed him? Is it?
yeah.
Does he need them to think that he's dead for this to work? Like, what? Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
And with the idea of Halbrand being Sauron, which is there's quite a few people out there now that think that, right?
Yeah,
It's one of the prominent ones. It makes like it somewhat makes sense, but I still feel like that's, I don't know. I don't buy into that either.
yeah. It's hard. It's so hard because now we've had this unofficial crowning of him as the king of the Southlands,
Yeah,
which is now Mordor. So technically, he's the king of Mordor. Is it? Is he Sauron?
What the like? I mean, I feel like he's the Witch King ever since I first saw him, right? And that's what a lot of people are picking up on, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where it's going with his character, is he's the Witch King, who's going to be tempted by Sauron, like promising fixing whatever's wrong with him,
I don't,
whoever he lost.
Because if you go on the, we'll try and steer away from Tolkien in case there's any spoilers in there. But if you go on the Jackson films, so he gave the rings to the 9 kings, right? But what is he king? What's he going to be king of? Like he's just totally trashed the Southlands. I mean, that doesn't mean they can't change it and he will be the Witch King or just a wraith or whatever. But I'm like, wow, God, it's hard to tell, and they're doing that on purpose. You know, they're showing. Yeah. I was saying to Marcus like a few episodes ago when they're on Numenor, and it's like, oh look, he's forging really well with like elven language. I mean, it's Sauron. But they're doing that on purpose, evidently.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean, the whole thing is now he's definitely going to be something evil. We kind of figured that out, but it's like, is he a wraith or is he Sauron?
Yeah. Also, is it like I don't remember what of this is of the video game Shadow of Mordor is like, if any of that's canon. Because I know like some of it was pulled from.
Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know.
But I think that there's the guy that you play as is a smith in that too, and he kind of has a similar look. So I thought that very early on. I haven't done. This is like no research, no like fan theory. It's literally just like, oh, he kind of reminds me of that guy.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'm right.
Yeah, I like that they're doing all these weird things to make us think. You know, I didn't even know for at all that we would be trying to guess who Sauron was for potentially 10 hours of this show.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, no, like that pleasantly surprised me because I was like, if they're gonna show Sauron, like there has to be like weight and like drama to it, right? Like, and so now like I do actually feel like pay this off, like, and if they land it, then that's gonna make it even better because we haven't ever seen Sauron, like, you know, so so they have to pay that off, and I think that this is the way that is entertaining me a lot. So
yeah, I love it. Yeah. I want to start believing that the stranger is Sauron again. I like being led.
That's what I feel like, because I feel like it's the obvious, like, oh, it's Gandalf, but then like to fully reverse that to like a full 180 to like, oh, we thought it was like the goodest of the good guys, and now it's the baddest of the bad. So, but again, I have no idea.
Yes, yeah. I mean, so we've already briefly touched on well, we didn't even briefly touch it. We spoke about it quite a lot. The end, the exploding of Mount Doom, and we've been chatting about it for a while because it's been coming. We know it's been coming, and then it got blown wide open by like this crazy thermal shock thing that was designed with the hilt in mind. You know, that felt a bit like the Goonies or something. It was like, yeah, we're going to turn this thing and it's going to do some cogs and it's going to blow that mountain up. But I mean, it was
the pirate ship just comes out in front of Mount Doom and then blows up.
It's like, what? One-Eyed Willie is Sauron. So yeah, the idea that this thing was going to go off with a mechanic was quite interesting. It wasn't like magic. It was a physical thing, like science. Wow, look, the science in Middle-earth. That's quite interesting. But it was this whole idea that it was planned, and it all went to plan. He was saying the sun's going to be gone, and this is going to happen, and it was a massive explosion. I felt petrified seeing it get closer and closer and closer. I thought that was very well done, and you know, they've been very generous with their cliffhangers in this show. So the fact Galadriel stands there and faces down the soot and volcanic ash firing at her, I thought that was fantastic. How did you feel seeing that thing go off and then just cover everyone in like rocks? And
it was really crazy. It made me, again, this episode, like especially ending on that high note, like made me finally be like, what's gonna happen? Like, where are we going from here? Like, I'm I'm finally like fully engaged. I've been watching it and kind of like enjoying it for the most part, but yeah, this is finally the episode that's kind of fully drugged me in. But the effects are amazing. This is where the episode succeeds in my mind. Of this whole sequence is another well done peaks and valley of the plan that these two camps have with the battle, and it's just a great like structure of and the production of it, the edit or the post production, the editing of it is really well done. It's a great sequence. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed. I'm really curious where the next episode is going to pick up. I feel like they shouldn't kill the momentum. Like I feel like they should just start off right where we ended. But I highly doubt that's what's going to happen. I feel like we're going to be like, we're going to let it sit for a while.
Yes, yeah. I'm super excited. I think I wanted a bigger battle from this episode, but weirdly, I didn't leave unsatisfied. I still really, really enjoyed it. I'm not entirely sure where it's going for the final two episodes. I've got, of course, there's obvious directions it can go, but have you got any like high expectations of what we've got left to see here before it's over?
Did you ask me if I had any?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask, I feel, because like I haven't watched any material, like any of the promotional material, so I don't know what we haven't seen and what we have. But yeah, no, I mean, I have no idea where this. We only have like 2 episodes left, right?
Yeah, just 2.
So I thought this was one season and that a one and done. I'm not educated.
No, I think they've signed up for quite a few. I think there's I think there's more to come.
Out about halfway through this season, I was like, they're not going like very far right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think I think we'll get time jumps and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, like
it goes on.
That
if they're gonna try and get us to the Battle of Last Alliance that we see at the start of Lord of the Rings, like with Isildur cutting the finger off and all that kind of stuff, we've got to go forward a bit. There's going to be kingdoms formed and all sorts of stuff. So maybe they'll be in it for the long run, and we'll do this over a number of seasons.
Do you think we see that battle?
I would love to think that. I would love to get there. I mean, I for this season alone, I wonder now if we are going to see Sauron as we know him, in his dark armor and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a sign of good writing, because it keeps you guessing. I don't know where we're going. I've got no idea.
It's entertaining. It's engaging. So it's not like the creme de la creme, but I've really enjoyed it. I've been excited to be on this because I wanted to talk about the first episode, the very first intro sequence.
Yes,
it's so well done. The way that it's shot, the way that it's written, is a great just callback to the intro of the movies, which again affirms that it has to be in the Jackson verse, right?
Yeah, you've got a Galadriel voiceover, and then thousands of years just happening in a few seconds. Yeah. I think there's definitely a love letter to Jackson going on here, without a doubt. So I think we're both looking forward to what happens next. I'm sure there'll be plenty more to discuss as it goes on. So thanks, Caleb. That was a lot of fun. And thanks everyone for listening. This has been the Script Department. Check out our website if you want to check out what our global network of screenwriters have been doing. That's thescriptdepartment.net. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you get decent podcasts from. You can find us. We've got loads of stuff on there. We've talked about all of the episodes of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, and we have also done rewatch on the Jackson trilogy as well. So you can hear us talking about those things. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. It helps us out. And we'll be back soon to chat more screenwriting. Cheers, guys.